Each year, on the 26th of June, thousands of people in up to 100 countries join together against torture, coming together as part of the global campaign to commemorate the UN International Day in support of victims of torture.
I believe nothing in this world is as shameful as torture. Exactly 15 years ago, on the 26th of June, my government signed the United Nations Treaty Against Torture. And later, many other countries have signed. But unfortunately, we miss a number of countries. So I think it is important to commemorate this date. The 15-year jubilee is celebrated all over the world. But I believe that we should not just celebrate. We should remember that public support is important in this issue.
Together Against Torture reflects the need for people at all levels in society to work towards a world without torture. Governments, health professionals, lawyers, the media, community organisations, students, human rights organisations, all of us.
As world-famous artists, why have you chosen to perform in support of the IRCT?
I support the IRCT because in my daily life as a musician, I'm constantly reminded of some things which goes very much against the principle of torture. And one thing is that we are all united, whether we like it or not. Another is that as long as we use violence, we stand in the way of our own development.
At the same time, acts of torture continue to take place throughout the year in every region of the world, devastating the lives of ordinary men and women. The UN Convention Against Torture provides the obligations of governments to stop torture. Yet 15 years after it entered into force, this convention remains the least ratified of the core international human rights instruments. Organisations like the IRCT continue to appeal to the world's governments for the universal ratification and implementation of this important convention.
My message on this important day, the 26th of June, is that we must do more to counter torture, which is still a problem worldwide, and we have a new international instrument, the optional protocol, which was passed by the Commission on Human Rights. So I hope that the General Assembly will also pass the optional protocol later this year. It's very important that all of the organisations, including IRCT, join together, particularly on the 26th of June, to pressurise governments that haven't ratified the Convention Against Torture to get the optional protocol brought into operation, and in particular to have training and approaches of everybody in uniform to counter any torture and to protect and rehabilitate the victims of torture. It is only by mobilising civil society that we will bring home the importance of these issues.
Torture is one of the most serious human rights abuses of our times. Repressive governments use torture against those who campaign for democracy, for social improvement, or for freedom of speech. In many parts of the world, torture is still practiced in prisons and detention centres. Torture is also used in times of conflict and civil war to suppress or silence civilian populations, or as a weapon against ethnic or social groups.
Torture is one of the most evil things you can do to a human being. It is making this person an object which you want to annihilate and destroy. Therefore, it is most important that we bring all torturers to justice, and that we rehabilitate all the victims of torture so that they can get a proper life again. Governments cannot do this alone. We need NGOs. We need an NGO as IRCT.
With its headquarters in Denmark, the International Rehabilitation Council for Torture Victims, the IRCT, supports a global movement of rehabilitation centres working on behalf of victims of torture. The IRCT is an international, independent, health professional organisation which promotes and supports the rehabilitation of torture victims and works for the prevention of torture worldwide.
The effects of torture are devastating to the victims and to their family. Torture breaks down the personality and the ability to lead a normal life, and this is exactly the purpose of torture. Through the IRCT and its partner rehabilitation centres worldwide, thousands of torture victims have received medical and psychosocial support, empowering them to rebuild and regain control over their life. But we also need to put an end to torture. We need to put an end to impunity and bringing the perpetrators to justice. Our vision is a shared responsibility for the eradication of torture. With your support, we are committed to working for a world without torture.